Hey guys, welcome to Drive to Wrench. Today we're going to look at something a little different because it's the cold winter time where I live and you can't really get outside and do any off-road bashing. So we're going to look at this Sinohobby Mini-Q TRQ1 that I got for 45 Canadian pesos off of Banggood. My first impressions are that it's a pretty decent car. The only problem I've had was I had a little clumsy moment and dropped it. It landed right on one of the wheels on the side from about a foot up on a carpet that's over a concrete floor, and it actually broke one of the steering knuckles. This is a broken one here. This is a good one. Oops. As you can see, the post broke off the one there on the bottom. Basically, it sits in the car. This is the downside, and this is the pivot, and it snapped that bottom one off. So what I did was I modeled up a replacement and 3D printed it up, and they're working pretty well. I put one on each side of the front. It's not perfect, but it seems to work all right. I put it up on Thingiverse, so if you have the same problem and you have access to a 3D printer, you can fix it. One thing, guys, to take note of is when you get this thing, I didn't notice this right away, but as you can see, this rear suspension here works perfect. This side is sticky. Makes a huge difference to how the car drives. So I got to fix that, obviously. Surprisingly, the suspension on these things actually does a lot more than you think it would, and I know that because when I first broke it, I put the broken piece on the back, and I actually just taped the suspension in place, figured, well, we'll drive it, see what it's like. To be honest, I didn't think that the suspension on this thing would be doing all that much, and I was wrong. It's unbelievable how much difference it makes. Yeah, if you happen to break yours, you'll definitely want to fix it. So these guys, the body comes off. It's actually screwed on, but I took those screws out because I've had it apart a few times. One of the really nice things about these guys is that they are super easy to work on. Just a bunch of screws, take it all apart. It takes, I don't know, 10-15 minutes at the most, maybe a hair longer to put it back together. I'm running a 1S LiPo, as you can see here. Notice that a JST connector actually plugs right into this thing. Seems to work okay. The electronics on this car, actually, I would rate as not bad. The radio right here, nothing to get too excited about. It's got the steering dual rate, steering trim, throttle dual rate, the gyro function. You turn it on, turn it off. Throttle feel is decent, and the proportional steering on this thing works pretty well. It's I wouldn't consider it to be bad. I'm a terrible drifter, so you'll see in the video that my skills are nothing to get excited about. It's a fun little car, I have to say. It's one of those things where if you're jonesing for an RC car fix in the middle of winter, I would definitely say give it a shot if you have some flat ground to run it on. It works really well on vinyl floor, linoleum floor type of thing. I actually need to get it out in the garage and try it on smooth concrete. I suspect it'll be just fine. Yeah, it's not a bad little car. It's got plenty of speed, even on the 1S LiPo. That's only 3.7 volts instead of the 6 volts of the AAA's. It seems to work just fine. To me the power is good. You can definitely slide it around. Have plenty of fun. My one knock actually is that the AAA's are going to run you quite a bit of money if that's what you want to use for batteries. It'll go through a set of AAA's quite quickly. So, I don't know, I'm going to guess half hour, 45 minutes, and you're going to drain a set of energizers. And, they're not the cheapest things around. So, I would definitely suggest getting into some rechargeables, either AAA rechargeables or a LiPo rechargeable. The LiPo weighs a lot less, so in terms of performance, it's for sure going to make a difference. It's pretty significantly lighter than 4 AAA's. So, one thing, guys, the reason I had to print these parts is that parts were a lot harder to find than I actually thought. My impression was that these cars were quite popular and you could get pretty much any parts you wanted. Well, it turns out in Canada, not the easiest car to get parts for. you know, it is what it is. Like, you can get upgraded metal drive shafts, you can get tires and wheels and stuff like that, no problem. But steering knuckles I could not find. So if somebody has a good source for parts, by all means, you know, let us know in the comments, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that has one of these things. Yeah. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. My overall reaction to this is pretty positive. I'd say if you know you like drifting, you know, a drift car is all you ever wanted, I would suggest probably getting into the WLToys is better, because there's a lot more parts. You know, it seems to be a superior car. But yeah, if you just want to try it on the cheap for 45 bucks Canadian, I don't know what that is American. It's probably available for 35 to 40 bucks American. You know, it's not bad at all, guys. It's a lot of fun for that kind of money. The cheapest I've seen the WLToys drift car is about 60 bucks Canadian, so that's, you know, that's about 35% more. Honestly, knowing what I know now, I would have got the WLToys. I would have spent a couple extra bucks, especially because it comes with a rechargeable battery, which this, you know, you're stuck using the AAAs. That extra money will get eaten up real fast if you need to buy batteries for it. So, you know, my nickel's worth is go with the WLToys, but you know, if you're on a budget, get a good deal on one of these. It's a lot of fun. Give it a try. And enjoy the video. Drive to wrench or wrench to drive.